On the one hand, you got Davis Mills, who started 13 games in college, was a third-round pick, went to the worst team in the NFL. Pretty much everyone said, boy, sucks to be that guy when he got drafted. And then when he had to play a lot this year, he's pretty much in the situation that Niner fans are saying Trey Lance needs to be shielded from. Can't throw a player onto the field his rookie year with a bad team. He'll get ruined. So far, that hasn't happened with Davis Mills. He just beat the Chargers last week. He's played well for about a month and in a row. He played well against the Patriots 2 months ago.
Played well versus Seattle.
Pretty much the opposite approach Houston took with him that the Niners are taking with Trey Lance. What do you think of that dichotomy?
I mean, I don't think much of it. I've told you from the beginning, I think that people give too many opinions on this, on what is good for quarterbacks development when there's no statistical evidence or any sort of evidence that tells us what is good or what is bad.
Well, you made a point. You've always made this point. I've always found it really interesting. People say, like, you always say, give me one example of a quarterback who would have been great that was quote unquote ruined by playing too early. Give me one example. Can you?
I don't know the example because the ones that, played too early and maybe got affected, like Alex Smith, come back, and if they're actually good, they're able to resurrect their career. And if they're bad, they're always bad.
Like Joey Harrington was just bad. David Carr was just bad.
Yeah. To me, and this idea that, that you might ruin them mentally or whatever, I don't understand that, because to me in the NFL, nobody has just a upward slope of ascendancy their entire career. There's ups and downs, and you're going to have peaks and valleys throughout your career. So if you're unable to react to the valleys, no matter what, you're not going to be a great player to me. If you're shielded from the valleys year 1, year 2, year 3, that's going to come. And if you get exposed year 3, then you certainly won't be a very good player, in my opinion.
Troy Aikman went 1-5, 1-15 his rookie year, and won a Super Bowl 2 years later. He wasn't crushed by losing all those games. It was actually beneficial.
Yeah,
and look, that's what Davis Mills is doing right now. He's 1-9. Yeah.
And there's examples of Paxton Lynch and Jake Locker who did not play, who were sat, looked at developmental guys. They never developed. JP Lossman, you could say, another guy in that boat. And of course, there's the Mahomes example of a guy who did sit. It was beneficial. He was outstanding from year 2. And then there's examples of guys
good his rookie year 2.
Right. And there's examples of guys who also started from day 1, and they probably would have been great if they sat.
Rodgers would have been good had he started from day 1 too. I saw Rodgers at Cal. He was amazing no matter where he held the ball when he was setting up. He was amazing. Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, and people say, like, but I can give you 10 examples of guys who started early and did not succeed. But I could also give you 10 examples of guys who started early and did succeed. I can give you 10 examples of guys who sat early, did not succeed. But I can also give you 10 examples of, or maybe like 5 examples of guys who sat and did succeed. So there's no way of saying what is good for a quarterback's development. Like, I don't think we can make any striking claims here about Trey Lance, because we've seen Davis Mills play. We've seen him basically go through a lot of this year because Tyrod Taylor got hurt. It's been some good, some bad. It started off really bad, and now he's gotten better. And I think that's the key. He's been getting better, and we're able to visually see that. We have not been able to visually see Trey Lance's improvement, but they're saying it's happening in practice, right? Fred Warner, totally unprovoked, made the comment about, how he's tearing them up. Matt Mayoko said the higher up. He talked to someone way high in the Niners organization who said that he's been phenomenal in practice. He won the practice scout team player of the week. So the Niners are giving you information that this improvement is happening. We're just unable to see it. I don't think we can make any claims, but I'm so sick of people telling me you can't play someone because, if you play him, you might ruin him. If he gets ruined, he was never that guy to begin with.
And I think what we're seeing in the trend in the league right now is what Houston's doing, what New England's doing. And this trade for Trey Lance will be worth it if Trey Lance ends up being a top 5 quarterback in the NFL. And what's cool about him, why I like him so much, is he does have the talent to do that. Not saying he will be that, but he does have that upside. But what you can do instead of trading 3 first-round picks for the opportunity to maybe get a top 5 quarterback, you can chill and get a good quarterback at the 15th pick in round 2. In round 3, you can get these guys. So it's interesting. And you can play them right away. And of course, Houston's losing, but they're not losing because of Davis Mills. They're losing because they're not very good. And next year they'll be better.
Yeah. And I think Niners fans are maybe a little bit scarred from the CJ Beathard experience when he had to play early, but Beathard isn't even in the same stratosphere when it comes to how
Beathard was never
touted they
good.
were in talent and anything. Beathard was a third-round pick who could maybe develop into a starter. Lance was drafted as a third overall pick because you think he's going to be a franchise quarterback. Then the Alex Smith example
Davis
gets
Mills was a
thrown out.
5-star recruit who was
Yeah.
only knocked because he lacked experience. Didn't matter.
Yes. I mean, he was touted as the next Andrew Luck when he first got to Stanford.
Big deal. Yep.
Yeah. And, the Alex Smith example gets thrown out. He had the 1 touchdown, 11 interception rookie season. But if you look at Alex Smith's second year, the 1 year he basically had structure pre-Harbaugh with Norv Turner, everybody was excited. He had 16 touchdowns, 16 picks. People were saying they were trending in the right direction. I think the Niners were 5-5 at some point that season. People were really excited about Alex Smith's talent at the time.
Norv Turner got the head coaching job with the Chargers based off that year, if I'm correct.
Yes. So, and, I don't even want to compare those two situations too, because honestly, for the first part of my life, that Mike Nolan, Mike Singletary, Dennis Erickson, when I first started watching football, the Niners were Browns level bad in terms of their organizational management. They were as bad to Alex Smith as any organization to me has ever been to a quarterback. They treated him terribly. Mike Martz came in and wanted to start JT O'Sullivan, who's fantastic on YouTube, was never in the same stratosphere in terms of quarterback ability as Alex Smith. The Niners treated him awfully. To be very frank about it, the Niners have way more structure. They have a coach who's been here for 4 years, who's implemented the exact organization the way he wants to, who's in charge of everything. Those two situations shouldn't even be compared. Alex Smith should not even be used as an example of what happened to him year one if Trey Lance started year one.
And I think the final point here is that the Niners are really good. They're really a very good supporting cast, and I really think any of the rookie quarterbacks would have been successful on this team. Trevor Lawrence, Zach Wilson, Trey Lance, Justin Fields, Mac Jones, Davis. I mean, if Davis Mills can look like this on Houston, I'm sure he'd look real nice on the Niners with Debo and Kittle, and I bet you Kyle Trask, Kellen Mond, all of them would look good on this team right now.
For me, the most important thing for a quarterback is, do you have an offensive coordinator who's willing to tailor the game to their strengths? Because a lot of these young quarterbacks, the NFL isn't 100% sure of what you're going to do with them when they first come in. That's why a lot of them are able to have success early. And the biggest question mark is, by year 3, can they continue having success? Because then the NFL slowly catches on. Oh, this is what you're doing to make the game easy for him. We're going to start taking this away. A lot of Josh Allen's ups and downs this year were a little bit of the NFL caught on to what the Bills were doing. Of course, Josh Allen is still an unbelievable quarterback, and the Bills being unable to pass protect and run the football and all of that is hurt. But his statistical decline is also that teams were starting to have some later safety rotations and stuff and force him to make decisions from the pocket and not just escape the pocket and just make physically gifted plays all the time. And he's still been fantastic this year, but it's been a slight decline from last year. Well, if you're a coordinator, if you have a talented player at quarterback, in my opinion, on his rookie deal, no matter, what he can do and can't do, if you have a coordinator that fully embraces what he can do, and you have a talented team, you can win games with that quarterback, in my opinion. I mean, the Patriots have fully embraced what Mac Jones can do. They're 9-6 with Mac Jones.
Right.
Dolphins embraced it with Tua the second half of this season. That's why they've won 6 in a row.